Hey, Lee Chandro with positive news for you and president of PN for You, which is our nonprofit arm. Clearly, the world needs positive news. Clearly, we need something different. When I began this company in 2017, I thought the world was pretty crazy then, and I find just over the last few days it's felt even crazier. My wife and I just got back from vacation. We met with our family. We were over in the Adirondacks, went to a car show, spent time on the lake, spent time in the woods, and I just had to regroup. A lot of things have been going on. For those who know me closely, they know that, this has been a long summer. Even today, I literally just got a call that one of my motorcycles is selling and things like that. I didn't even get 200 miles on it this summer. So, that's where my life is. It's been kind of hectic and kind of crazy. But I want to talk about the future of positive news for you and PN for you. I came back and I felt like I needed to take some time while I was there and put together some thought process and things like that. So I want to talk about the future, but I want to talk about some of the things that exist for us right now. Uh, some of the things that I want us to continue to work on have to do with content and things like that. We ran into some what I'm going to call AI disasters, according to my SEO. We allowed a few writers to write for us, put together stuff AI, and while it looks good in print, it doesn't do well all the time in the SEO world. So, with that said, we're going to put a lot more emphasis on hands on writing and things like that related to travel, food and drink, good news stories. I have some thought process about what can be done with good news stories that already exist and how we can do something with that. My heart is that we continue to put out quality content as we have for 7 years. If you followed us for any length of that time, we have probably some 6,000 articles online, as well as video, podcasts, and things like that. Which brings me to the next place. Beginning of this year in January, I felt like we were going to begin to do a mix of about 65% to 70% of our content was going to be audio and video and things like that. Right after I decided that one of our really good videographers had a baby, and he decided to take some time off to spend time with his child, and I'm really excited for him and his child, but we definitely miss him. So there's a lot of podcasting out there that I'd like to embrace, some of it related to sports, some of the topics I already just mentioned, travel, food, drink, things like that. Maybe even the person, the kind of thing that we had a few years ago. There was a point in time where we had a couple of individuals who actually brought us the news of the week or the news of the day and things like that. They take two or three stories and they talk about it. Well, there was a couple of women who worked with us. They went back and forth. I really like that format. That's really good for me. The other one had to do with a young man who put together some of that. So we're going to be looking at videography and podcasting and things like that. Reach out to perhaps some people who are already in the industry, see what we might be able to do. Next thing I want to do is I came back and I felt like I had to take care of a lot of things, and some of that has to do is related to the merchandise that we have and things. I realized when I did a show a few weeks ago that I had probably 10 boxes of merchandise, probably a lot. When I say a lot, there's probably $5,000 to $10,000 worth of merchandise. I need to get it gone. I need to make room in my world and get ready for the next round of merchandise and things like that. So it's gift giving time. It's coming up on Christmas. Take a look at what we offer. If you have any questions or you want to buy bulk, for instance, I have a whole bunch of our positive news pink shirts related to breast cancer. If you know, you know. And so I want to do something with those. I think we probably have 200 to 300. If there's an organization that would like to buy bulk and stuff like that, or offer things to students related to some of the positive news shirts that we already have, and merchandise, or the bears that we have given out to first responders for children and things like that. I call them trauma bears. There's probably a better term for that. We have all that available. The next area I want to touch on is, with everything going on with me and what I've had to take care of with regard to family and things like that, I've been limited in what I've been able to do with regard to getting advertisers and sponsors. So if you're listening to this and you want to be a participant in what we do, I would appreciate you reaching out to me. I personally do not have the time to go out like I used to and be on the road, take pictures and things like that, and talk to people about sponsoring and advertising with our show. The next part has to do with this, has to do with our nonprofit. I have headed up this organization. For those of you who may or may not know, what we do is we promote positive events, things like that. More recently, we added the idea of what an organization called Grandpa Owl, which is related to curriculum, books, and things like that to help children develop positivity and resilience to circumstances and situations that are going on. Not that they would harden their hearts, but they would be able to respond accordingly to that. So I need the right people for that organization. It is a 501c3. It is in need of members to be on the board, possibly a director at some point. I've pretty much been that person. I can't do it all. I've come to realize that. We need some help with grant writing. We need some help putting together the Google Fund. There's a thing where we can put together $10,000 a month in advertising through Google AdWords and things like that at no cost to us. I just have not been able to accomplish that, though it's been a desire and a concern of mine since day one. PN for you, one of the areas of emphasis is going to be, as I said, the positivity and resilience for children. My friend is working hard on this. I spoke to his daughter yesterday. I want to do more than that, but I also recognize that there needs to be somebody who's not me. The next part has to do with what some people may have heard, and I alluded to a few months back. When my life began to change with regard to family members becoming ill, I realized that I needed to look at some next steps and clearing the deck about things and that kind of stuff. And one of those areas has to do with positive news. It's a desire of mine that it would continue to go on, but I recognize that there's people who, at this juncture, can do a better job of it. A couple of months ago, I actually had a company from California reach out to me. They were interested in the purchase of it. It fell by the wayside, not because of me, because they just couldn't get their act together. I'm not disappointed or mad at them. It would have been a good thing for them. It would have been a good thing for me. So here's a little bit of history. Positive news for you. I began September of 2017. I've never missed a day of getting up good news and positive news out there, whether it's been through our social media, whether it's been Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, that kind of thing. We've put out a newsletter every day. I think I looked at it the other day, and I think it's 3,000 something in a row with no misses. So we've been here 7+ years. We have 6,000 articles. We have different things. I am beginning to entertain more and more the possibility of selling this off. I would still like to write articles from time to time, but I feel like there is probably someone or someones who are better focused on what needs to be done. And what that means is it probably needs a single focus. I spend good money each month for the SEO. I've made maintenance of it over the years and things like that. But as I said earlier, I haven't had the opportunity to go out and develop advertisers and sponsors as of late. So if that's something you might be interested in, know somebody who might be interested in, I'm not looking for I'm joking when I say this. I'm not looking for $1 million. $1 million would be great. I'm not even in that ballpark. It would be one shot, everything goes. Domain, the hosting, the merchandise, everything related to it, and I step out of the way and someone else takes on. I ran into this circumstance as far back as 1995. 96, I started a company and it began to take over my life, began to take over the life of my family. I ended up being able to sell it to a friend of mine who did a great job with it up until the time of his death. And my heart would be that I would find somebody like that. So, with that said, I'm going to try and put up regular updates, just to keep people in touch with what is going on, what has been changing, things like that. I'm no longer, able to devote all the time I need to with regard to merchandise. Even while I was away, I thought, well, I'm just going to start doing merchandise through Facebook Marketplace and eBay and things like that. I don't have the time for that. If you're an eBayer and you want to contact me, I would look at that idea. I've thought about just putting up a store on eBay. I've thought about a lot of things. I have lots of thoughts going through my mind, but I realized as I was driving back from New York State that this is a time in a season where I just need to shift everything into a lower gear on some levels. So, with that said, again, this is Lee Chandra with Positive News for You. Uh, President of PN for You Inc., which is a separate 501c3. They are not related, but I would, those things can be discussed going forward. So thanks for being part of the Positive News for You world. Bless you. Have a great rest of the week. Thanks for being part of what we do.